Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. In today's episode, we're leaving the cupboard for the full-scale brewery with Lucy and Lizzy from Closet Brewing. I'm Joanne, and this is Tori.
Hello, hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us! Right, so this week we have the wonderful Lucy and Lizzy from Closet Brewing with us. Hello.
Hi guys.
Welcome.
So, in case people don't know, which is a travesty, in my opinion, who are you? Where are you from? What are you doing here with us tonight?
So we're Closet Brewing. We're from Edinburgh, and we're here because we love the podcast and we want to chat about beer.
Yeah, so we are Scotland's only openly queer-owned brewery. We, for a long time, used to advertise ourselves as Edinburgh's smallest brewery. Closet is not a metaphor, it is literally where we used to brew. Fortunately, we're a little bit bigger than that now, so possibly not quite the smallest brewery in
Not
Edinburgh.
quite. Not far off.
Not far off, but not quite these days.
Are you bigger than the Hanging Bat?
We are somewhat bigger than the Hanging
Yeah.
Bat.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Hanging Bat counts as an independent brewery.
Okay.
Don't want to put my foot in it, but
We'll change the subject. We will, for those that are not watching the video, which is most people, we're all twinning tonight. We've all got our Closet Brewing jumpers on, which Tori and I, we love our jumpers.
Yeah, I've worn this one before, I think,
Yeah.
on the podcast a few times,
Yeah.
and I wear it out places, and I get so many compliments on it. I think I bought it when you guys had the trans visibility sale, and I was like, well, I wanted it anyways, and now there's an even better reason to go and purchase it. So, I've been wearing it since, and people love it. So,
exactly, a day one fan.
Yeah. It was one of the first times we hired like an actual artist to work with us, which is something we've gone on to do, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit more depth later. But one of the things that I'm really proud of is our sort of like artist program and working with sort of exclusively queer artists to produce all our merch and our labels and keg badges as well.
That's definitely on my list to talk to you about. First question, though, I think, can you tell us about the early days in the cupboard, please?
So we started Closet Brewing in the closet in our first flat that we lived in Leith, and it was not a big closet. There was no temperature control for the beers. They were in a plastic bucket on the floor, which meant that on more than one occasion we woke up, looked in the closet, and found it brimming with beer.
I mean,
Oh, no.
in those days, our mash tun was literally, because we started as home brewers, so our mash tun was like an ice cooler from Tesco that we drilled a hole in the side of so that we could fix a tap to it and like shoved metal grating in as a filter. So it was a little haphazard, very DIY. And I think so that was 2018. The story goes that we moved up here on the day that Lucy moved up. She lost the job offer that she'd got.
Oh no.
Fortunately got an additional job, but we were fairly low on funds, so couldn't afford to go out drinking in this brand new city we'd moved to, where we knew no one. So we thought, oh, we'll just have to make the beer ourselves then.
I love that.
Were you already home brewing at the point of which you decided to do that, or was that the moment that you were like, let's try home brewing?
So I actually got a homebrew kit for my 18th birthday.
Wow.
I turned 18, my friends all clubbed together and got me a homebrew kit. So here's the third member of Closet Brewing. If you would like to answer the question again, I'll let him take it.
Yeah, so Bernie, were you already homebrewing before you moved to Edinburgh?
So Bernie wasn't,
No.
but I actually got a homebrewing kit for my 18th birthday. My friends clubbed together and bought me basically a big plastic bucket with one of those tins of malt syrup
Oh,
that you put in
amazing.
it. And I made said homebrew, and we all drank it, and it was for a bunch of 18-year-olds, quite alcoholic
Oh, yeah.
and not great, but drinkable. I then kind of left homebrewing at that. It wasn't the best outcome from it, and so it then wasn't until we moved back to Edinburgh that I decided to give it a go, but actually learn what I was doing rather than just mixing some syrups together and letting it ferment.
Yeah, that first one, I remember the cleaning after that very first brew was something else. Because I mean, we really knew nothing. Um, my God, it's making me think about how long we've been together though, because I was there even for that first gift exchange.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a journey for two since day one. But yeah, I just this it was so sticky in a manner that I can't fully put across in words.
In terms of just based on kind of that of you getting a homebrew kit at 18, were you, I mean, both of you, were you always beer drinkers, or was that just something that was like, oh, this would be an interesting thing to get as a present, and then you thought, yeah, we'll do it, and then did that turn you into a beer drinker? What was the beer that maybe turned you into a beer drinker?
I was always a beer drinker. I think my parents instilled in me a love of alcohol from quite a young age. Kind of starting from pints of HPA, Hereford Pale Ale, I think,
Yeah.
in our local pub from when I could first drink, and definitely not before then.
Definitely not. No.
Definitely
None
not
of us
before then.
ever would. No,
No,
no.
never.
To when I lived in Bristol, trying wild beer for the first time, my first time trying mixed fermentation things, and that completely blew my mind and opened up a whole nother world of beer. So then when I moved to Edinburgh and got to explore the burgeoning craft scene up here.
I was never really a big drinker, full stop, of anything. Um, so when Lucy started homebrewing when we moved up here, she sort of made it her goal to try and find a beer that I would drink. Um, and we were here for 4 years before we got married, which is relevant because we decided that for our wedding we would create a wedding beer, and it was a raspberry and strawberry Berliner Weiss.
Yeah.
Uh, do you know what? It was so delicious. We not only had it, so we got married in COVID, so we had it physically at our wedding, but because we couldn't have all our family with us, we then sent bottles down to them all so they could have it as well. I always consider that to be like the real birth of closet brewing, um, when it sort of stopped being a just random thing that we did occasionally and became something that had a little bit of oomph behind it, and a little bit more of a joint project rather than a Lucy panically yelling at me from another room to be like, can you come and help, please?
I've definitely done that to my other half as well. Had moments where I've come. So I have also homebrewed, and I would always put a plastic tray under because it would sit in the living room in a corner, and I'd put a plastic tray with a towel on the top, and I've definitely come down and everything is just coming out the top of the demijohn, or I've yelled at Gordon, can you just come and help me hold this for a minute? And then he appears, and I've got like, I don't know, various different bits of piping and stuff coming. I was like, if you just hold that while I do this. Yeah, I've been there, done that.
There was a rather notorious story in our household. So we're a little bit further down the line here, because this was only about 2 years ago. So we're professional commercial brewery at this point, but still brewing out of our house with the biggest physical kit that we can fit in a residential property.
Yeah.
And Lucy had explained to me, like, oh, this is actually how you can hear when it's bubbling over. I was like, okay, great. That's really important information to know. It's about 3 a.m. in the morning, and suddenly I start hearing it go from a nice, steady glug, glug, glug to glug, 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 glug. This one, fast asleep, doesn't hear a thing. So I come downstairs, wake the dog while I do it. So then the two of us go to explore. And at this point, the beer tanks were in our conservatory, and all up the one window was just foam and beer all over the floor, all over the little tank next to it. So I'm thinking, well, first thing I need to now, the dog is now very interested in what's going on. So I had to remove the dog and somehow clean all of this up at 3 a.m. in the morning. Also, while not trying to wake Lucy, because I'm like, if she's not woken up by now, she clearly needs to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh
dear.
my goodness.
You are very sweet, because I feel like I would have been like effing and jeffing around it, like, somebody come and help me. You are very sweet.
But yes, that has become a bit of a story, because I still don't think we've got all of the stick out of those tiles.
Yeah, we're planning on just demolishing the conservatory to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's probably the best choice at this point in time.
Is it like when it gets like relatively warm and you can start smelling the smells, and you're like, and there it is. We thought we got rid of it, and there it is.
Yeah, there's some nook or cranny that has a bunch of.
I reckon it's just still in the grouting, to be honest.
So we talked about the cupboard and we talked about the conservatory. So you have scaled up your brewery like a few times now. Like, what's that like? Having to make those decisions, decide how big to go?
Every time we do it, within a few weeks, we realise we should have done something differently or bought a different bit of kit. We're getting better at the process, but it's one of those things you have to make decisions, especially when we're on a really small scale.
Yeah.
And we're looking at kind of more professional, but still homebrew sized, when we were looking at still homebrew sized kit. And you've got to weigh it cost, and then you buy something, and then when you're actually using it in anger, you really think, I should have just spent a bit more.
It's always that scope creep, isn't it, as well, of like, you're like, if I do this, but then also like every penny matters. So it's kind of like that, if I do this, but then you go, oh, maybe I shouldn't. And I imagine there's probably so many like just things going around your head.
I think also each sort of increment of expansion has been done relatively slowly, which is, part and parcel of being self-funded, I guess. We've not got the big financial backers behind us to go, okay, here's a unit. It's had to sort of be as incremental as our fundraising will allow. And so each time it's such a way up of cost and space versus efficiency, and also quality. I think that's one of the things that has been sort of the most important in that process when we're scaling up, is how do we maintain the quality that we can do, at the previous scale, at a larger scale when we're buying more stuff. I think our sours are a really good example of that, because fruit is expensive, and trying to find ways to maintain freshness. We've always done things with like fruit purees, trying to keep those ingredients as sort of unprocessed as possible, and finding ways to do that at scale has been a learning curve. If you know anyone who needs about 500 grams of watermelon puree, please let us know.
It's more than 500 grams.
It's
It's
yes,
50 kilos.
it's 50 kilos, isn't it?
500 grams is not much.
No, I was going to say 500 kilos, and I knew that wasn't
That wasn't
right,
right.
so I scaled down too far.
It's the scale up, scale down.
I think that's something that people don't think about, like, especially when, like, if they're homebrewers and stuff, and they're like, yeah, I make this really good beer. But then scaling it up, it's not necessarily just as simple as just
Multiply by, yeah.
just make it the bigger amount, right? That it doesn't necessarily work like that. So that's interesting to hear. And people don't think about how we've said this before. People don't realize how expensive brewing ingredients actually are if you want to create quality beers.
Yeah.
Especially fruit. That's so expensive.
Well, especially hops as well.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, they're expensive as well. Like, just agricultural products just are expensive. Yeah,
ingredients in general, and the basic resources as well. Like, that's not. I think people just think it's really important that you both mention that, because even not the fruit, even like literally, the more you scale up, the more water you need, the more your water bill goes up, and it's stuff like that. That the most basic. Even starting at the most basic level, water and electricity, to do some of this. I think people just think on the scale of their kettle, and they go, well, I use my home kettle however much, and I use this much water. And so, like, how much more can it be to make it? And it's all those things that I don't even think they think about. I think it's something that is just a subconscious, like, in the back of their mind. It's not something that they think about, because it's something you take for granted in that regard. But then when somebody puts a beer out and the cost might be a higher cost, for example, like, they're not thinking about everything that goes into it. So I think it is really important that you're highlighting, like, yeah, people don't really understand how expensive fruit is, because you're doing your best to be like, let's put fresh fruit in and let's put these good ingredients in. They cost money.
Yeah, and the water and electricity just wasn't something we'd really had to think about brewing at home, because you don't break it down. It just all comes out of your bill. You heat up the HLT in the morning when you're brewing at home, whereas now we have to heat it up overnight. It has to go on the day before. And we now actually get that bill for the usage. And you're like, wow, okay, there's actually quite a bit that goes into that.
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest changes in how we ran the brewery, in a change from, like, as home brewers to brewing commercially, is these things that sort of come packed in a neat little bow when it's in your house, like sewage and waste and cleaning. These are all things that you kind of already have around, or things that you're already paying for, and having to work that out at scale was a steep and very fast learning curve, which I know must sound incredibly dull for the people listening, so I do apologize. But I think for us, was part of this big change from looking at ourselves as home brewers to looking at ourselves as a commercial brewery.
I think that's so valid, like the cleaning products, for example. So one of the questions that I had to ask later on, if we got around to it, was around, are there challenges that you face that consumers maybe aren't aware of what it takes to brew a beer, and to start a brewery and all that. And I think, like, that is the prime example of something that people don't think about. Like, I know, even as a person that drinks beer, talks to lots of people that own and operate breweries, that kind of thing, I know how much cleaning goes into and sanitizing goes into brewing a beer. But the one thing that I never think about when I think about costs of a beer is I go, oh yeah, and all the cleaning products and sterilizing products and everything else. Like, these are things that are needed for every single brew day. And people don't go, wow, I need that.
Being a brewer is basically being a glorified cleaner.
Yep.
Like 90% of a brew day is cleaning. And I mean, peracetic acid, not peracetic, peracetic acid scares the living daylights out of me. I don't know if you've ever had a partner come home being like, oh, accidentally burnt all my fingertips off today. It's not ideal, especially when all your technology is obviously fingerprint entry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was locked out of my bank for a couple of weeks.
For a couple of weeks. Oh,
Again,
God.
that's just the thing that you would never think of at all. You just go, oh my God, are you hurt? Are you okay? The fallout of that being, I can't get into,
I can't log into
recognition.
my online banking.
Wow.
So, you know, and I think the unique challenges that come with it are mostly just that there's a difference between brewing and running a brewery.
Yes.
Like learning how to become business owners is a whole other ball game. I'm very fortunate that Lucy's really good at maths. You know, I think I've got many other good qualities, but needing Lucy to physically explain to me how some of our finances are working is very, very handy. But you know, it's all those little things, because at the moment you can't just sort of be a brewer, you have to be a content creator and a sales rep and a cleaner, label designer upon occasion,
Podcast participant.
Of
Event
course,
manager.
event manager, and customer liaison and web shop manager, web designer. You know, there are all these other hats that you have to wear. And I think you need to enjoy wearing at least 60% of them. Otherwise, it's not going to work. We're quite fortunate that where our skills lie sort of covers the vast majority of those hats these days. But there's a lot of it where I think one of the great skills that you pick up when you own a small business is just I'll give it a go mentality, which is great. You're just like, oh, I'll give it a go. You suddenly realize that quite a lot of things aren't quite as scary as they seem. So yeah, you've got to learn how to do a lot, but also a lot of things aren't quite as daunting as they may first appear.
I've done far more electrical wiring than I had anticipated.
I bet.
Electrical wiring, terrifying. My husband will just be like, oh yeah, I could just fix this, and I'm just like, that's the one thing that I'm like, I won't. Math and the electrical wiring, I think, are the things that I'd be tapping out at. Is that those are not my strong suits. So well done to you.
So we've talked about ingredients and artwork already have been mentioned. So I think we need to come into. I'm currently drinking Gal Pals. I think Tori's drinking as well.
Yeah.
Oh, lavender pale ale. I love this beer. It's so beautiful, so well balanced.
Tried to slow myself down on it.
Right, lavender, not your usual beer ingredient. So where do you come up with your flavours? Because some of your beers have such great, interesting flavours in them.
So lavender's actually a really interesting one because it first came about from the queer connection of kind of lavender marriages and it having such a strong connection with kind of the Sapphic community. And then once we did more of a deep dive into the actual flavours of lavender, we found out that the actual oils that make up lavender are very, very closely related to hop oils.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Some of the main flavours in lavender, linalool, which I'm sure you know, are also found in hops.
Yes.
And we thought, well, what if we try and kind of extract some of those flavours and pair it with hops that are also quite high in those oils on the hop side, and from that, the two then blend really nicely together. Like when you take the aroma, you do get a lot of lavender in it, but then when you actually drink it, it kind of merges together into like an earthiness.
Mm.
We found that a lot of people find the lavender kind of like coriander. So some people absolutely love it, can't get enough of it. And for some people, it has that kind of soap association,
Yeah.
I guess, um, which we looked more into, and it all comes down to this like particular oil, linalool,
Mm-hmm.
um, and how it interacts with the taste palette. So there was quite a lot of science that went into exploring how we make this particular beer work because we knew we wanted it to exist. So Gaupals is a beer that we bring out every year. Our lavender pale ale for Pride, and we support a different charity with it every year. So I think this year it was Trans Kids Deserve Better, and because it's a beer that means a lot to us, it was kind of important that it was a beer that did a lot of hard work itself. You know, it's something that people can sort of enjoy a bit of the complexity of it, I guess.
It's definitely complex. I love that. Like that earthiness is really lovely with like a little bit of floral, and then there's tropical coming through from the hops. Like I just every time I've had it, it's just really drinkable to me. Like I'm not one of these people that gets the soapiness, but it's drinkable, but there's layers of interest within that flavour. It's so beautiful and so well balanced.
I think for me it is that it is that floral element that has, but the like you said, that fruit, like there's almost that fruity undertone like to that as well. It is really, like I said, I've been trying to slowly drink it because I'm like, I could easily drink it really quick. It would be gone by now. This is all that I've got
So
like left of
drinkable.
it, and it would have been gone if I just kept going. But I knew we wanted to like ask about the flavors, so I was like, just slow down on the drinking of it. But it is. You're talking about like going into the science of it. Like how long from when you knew you wanted to make a beer with lavender to the point of actually being ready to brew do you think roughly it took to actually do all the research from conception to like actually getting it in a tank?
I think the first time we did it, it was probably about 6 months. And now that you said that, I actually realised that we forgot to mention a very crucial stage in the recipe development,
Oh yeah.
which was that after we had the idea of lavender and lemon zest, the original recipe had,
Yeah.
we made a cake with it first,
Oh, I bet that's amazing.
which then solidified our kind of love of those two flavours together.
Mhm.
And then from there, we started
Yeah.
messing around with like quantities that would go in the final beer. And so there was 6 months, I think, from first deciding, hey, what if we put lavender
In
in
a
a
beer.
beer, to making the cake, to doing some little dosage benchtop trials, to actually finally putting what was a very, very small amount of lavender in the first
Yeah,
beer.
it's a little goes a long way. I remember doing the dosage trials that were literally, we just had some like dried lavender and we were sprinkling like milligrams at a
Yeah.
time into we had just a couple of sort of relatively basic pale ales to get that sort of flavor through. And it was just like being so gentle with just like the barest hint to begin with, and sort of doing really slow. I'm very methodical, I guess, is kind of how we do things. slow and steady, very measured, just to work out what the right, you know, ingredients,
And it was
magic
such a
recipe was.
small amount that we actually switched to using a tincture because we found that literally the difference in a can of beer was like between 2 like grains of lavender.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So after sprinkling it into the beer, we decided to make a tincture and try and use that to dose it, which helped us get kind of the more accurate.
And you get more consistency across a batch. So this was the other thing. The first time we did it, we were brewing into 70-litre tanks. This year we were brewing into 1,000-litre tanks. So ensuring that we were able to keep that consistency at scale, adjusting our methods has been kind of necessary. So, you know, trying to keep the ingredients, but maybe changing how we get to the final product has been a great opportunity for experimentation.
The real question is, have you gone back to make anything? Have you baked anything using the beer that you've made with lavender in it?
We haven't actually.
No.
I don't know if it would work because of the hops.
Yeah.
I don't know if baking the hops would make it too bitter.
Yeah.
We also stopped making the cake because from Gal Pals is how we found out one of our best friends is allergic to lavender.
Oh no.
Oh no.
After they had an allergic reaction to the plant.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Oh no.
So the cake, unfortunately, has gone out of our sort of frequent rotation.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Which is deeply sad. But we do have a bean and beer casserole that comes back every winter as soon as the weather gets cold. And it's always fun picking a beer out of the fridge to be like, oh, what sort of flavour are we going with this time?
I feel like that's what you need to do is like for this winter period, you need to be like, brew a beer specifically that you think is going to go best with that casserole and then share the recipe and then be like, if you want to try it, you got to buy the beer and try the recipe.
Would you like to come and organise our social media for the next few months?
You can have that one for free. Take that one.
Delightful. And I will.
Yeah. When you see that on our social media in a couple of weeks' time, you'll know.
because I know that like you don't want me on your social media team because I will just make the most haphazard post that's like, and sent, and it will just look like just not the nice finishing touches that you want. I'll give you all the ideas, but I feel like that is definitely something that I would buy, would be like, make this recipe, we've made this beer that's meant to go very well with making this recipe.
Well, we have one at the table right now.
Oh,
which is our most recent stout.
Oh, Joe's got that as
I got that one as my
second
next
beer.
Yeah.
I don't have that as my next beer, but I've got another frog one.
I'm also excited for the frog butts on this.
The frog butts.
So
yeah, frog butts for me as well.
Bizarre that you should both pick out these beers as the label. The labels were both designed by the same artist. Hence the visible frog butts on both the labels. They designed by an amazing local Edinburgh artist called Zuza, at Zuza Makes on Instagram, shout out, who has done some fantastic work with us this year and has been so game for our weird ideas. If you've ever approached someone to say, so what we want is like frogs at a rave in assless chaps, and they've gone,
okay,
perfect,
got it.
Like that is the sort of artist you want to collaborate with.
I remember we had Tom Bacon on, and he was drinking this beer, and he said, my next beer is they're turning the friggin' frogs gay, and I was like, I want it. I want it now. And I went on your website, and I was like, please tell me you have it, please tell me you have it. And there was nothing on that, and I was like, no. And then he tagged me in your post of when you were like, the web shop's back open. He sent it to me, and he went, they're turning the frogs gays on there, and I was like, immediately like, yes, I'm I'm on it, and I ordered it so quick because the name was great, the art was great. I was like, I don't even care what, don't care the style. I just want that beer regardless. And I knew it was going to be good regardless of it. So it's now a good point to talk about your artist program where we crack a beer with frog
yes.
butts.
Quite well.
Right, I am going to pass the dog over to Lucy because I talk with my hands and the dog was asleep in my arms.
Same.
So one of the things that was really important to us when we started was being able to recognize other sort of queer small business owners. It's real tough. It's real tough to start your own business. It's real tough when it's just you or just you and a partner. And so we wanted to sort of create some opportunities to showcase some of the really cool artists that we like. Basically, it's how it sort of started. And we were really fortunate, sort of off the bat, to know a couple who, when we were getting started, were happy to do things for a slightly lower fee, often a big box of beer.
Excellent.
And so we worked a lot with Lucy's sibling, who is a tattoo artist down in London, who did a lot of our artworks. So Mitarinen, which was one of our first lagers, and our, well, infamous, I think at this point, collab with Alphabet Brewing right before they went under. Last Train Out of Manchester, which Alex also did the artwork for, which was fantastic. And various other, they've cropped up time and time again for us, which has been lovely, you know, make it a family project.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of work with Alex in the early days, and then through various sort of LGBT business networks and events, we met Gorgeous Art, who absolutely fell in love with our lemon grisette. So when we had the opportunity to rebrand that last year, Derek from Gorgeous Art came on board to design that for us. It's such a beautiful label and actually helped us rename it as well. So he's the one who came up with the name Lemon Soul, with a really like funky 70s vibe, which was great. And since went on to do the artwork for our collab with Hand Brew Co. this year, Bright Young Things, which again he also came up with the name for. Is the full package. As a collaborative artist, we have worked with Carby D, who also goes by Rose, who did our Vienna Lager, which I have to shout out just because, again, if you go to an artist and you're saying, what we would really like is Sigmund Freud lying on his couch in a slip, like, lingerie dress, and their immediate response is absolutely yeah, you should work with that artist. Like Rose was so down for that, and absolutely brought it as well. Like
I've
that
got it in my
artwork
fridge.
is so fantastic.
That was nearly my third bit, so I was like, I had it in the fridge as the backup because I was like, that's gonna be like, if we're gonna do 3 beers, that's gonna be definitely the third beer. But Turn the Friggin' Frogs Gay had to be in it. So Joe was like, I've got frogs, you've got frogs. So Freudian Slip is in the fridge, like ready to go as we speak. And the label, genuinely, that label, fantastic.
It's so good. It's so good. Or we had Fraser, who did the artwork for Lost in the Source, who went as far as literally writing out the name in source and turning that into a typeface for the beer, which was insane. And Ryan, who a special shout out for Ryan, in fact, because we are launching a new beer. Well, later this week from time of recording. It should be out by the time this is released. So we can say that Ryan has created the artwork for Hidden Track, which is our collab with Courier that we're really excited to release.
Well, that's going to be another. That's going to be another
So there,
order then coming out then.
Yeah, there are even more artists that we've worked with, and I know I've forgotten some. I want to shout all of them out because every single one has been an utter delight to work with. But what has been really important for us has been that we have an opportunity to showcase these completely different art styles. You know, if you put our beers sort of all up next to one another, it's a like cacophony of light and color and movement and dynamism. And I think it sort of represents exactly who we are, despite being completely different, sort of all side by side. It's a bit fun, it's a bit silly, it's quite camp, unsurprisingly, I guess. There you go. That is our artist program in a nutshell. And a little shout out that if you happen to be an artist or know an artist who is queer and wants to design some beer labels, get in touch with us because we want to work with you.
We always want to work with more artists.
Yes, I love that.
Make sure we tag as much of them as we can,
yeah,
like
we'll
as many as we can find. We'll
in the show
tag
notes.
them anyways.
And shout out to the web shop is open so that people can go and buy the beers with these wonderful labels on. So do go buy all these delicious beers that we're talking about today.
Exactly. You know, just in time for Christmas.
The web shop will now be open forever.
Yay!
I feel like there's so many times I was checking back and going, please be open, please be open, please be open. Then I was like, no! And then somebody would be like, it's open, go, go, go.
I literally
It's been very up and down.
Everything.
It's been very up and down with the licensing, but we finally have something in place so that we can keep it open for people because we like when people can buy it directly. You know, if nothing else, you know, it helps us buy food for this lovely little dog who is being very well behaved on Lucy's lap right now.
So well, I the thing that I really have always really loved about Closet is the way you work with community. And so like your artist program there is a great example. Recently you were at Squiff, the Scottish International Film Festival. You've done stuff for Edinburgh Pride. Like tell us about that more.
Do you want to take this one?
I took the last one, but I'll take this one as well.
You're much better at talking than I am.
And I do love the sound of my own voice. So
we love the sound of it too.
I was just gonna say we love it, so it's
fine. There is something when you are in a room and you are not the minority that feels indescribable if it's not a thing you've experienced before. And, you know, I'm not going to get political particularly, but it's really tough for queer people at the moment across a whole spectrum of identities. People are having a tough time, and community is a way that we are able to resist what is happening, but also to bring one another up, to support one another, to show up for each other as human beings, you know, like outside of personal identities. We are all people, and people, you know, humans are sociable creatures at the end of the day. We exist in, whether you want to call them packs or families or communities, we are made to be around others. And so our links to community have always been that we want to create things that didn't necessarily exist when we were younger, or that we didn't have access to when we were younger. And, you know, there's still a lot that we want to do, we've been fortunate enough to be involved in, I think we're like upwards of like 10 Pride events this year, which at least, we were traveling up and down the breadth of the UK this year. We've been up to Fortrose, which is just north of Inverness, all the way down to like Margate. Lucy was over in Bristol just last weekend. We've done Glasgow, and obviously always in Edinburgh. Have our heart forever. But what we really want to do is have our own tap room, because then we can start creating a permanent space for our community. The opportunities we then have, like you may not know that there are no fully mobility accessible queer venues in Edinburgh. So none of the queer venues that we have are either completely wheelchair accessible or completely hard of hearing accessible or visually impaired accessible. And so one of the things that's really important to us is that we have a space of our own so that we can provide these things that are currently missing. I guess it's going to take us time because these, creating the space, developing with the disabled community to be able to create these spaces is going to take time. But it's really important to us that our next move is going to be one that helps create a physical space, not just a digital space.
In terms of just touching on that point as well, about the spaces and the experience, and like that is really that is shocking. I'm in a very fortunate position where that's not always on the forefront of my mind when I'm choosing where to go out, and I can't imagine being in a situation of being like, I need some place that's going to be accessible for this and this, and actually I can't find anywhere. That is a shocking thing. And I think, in terms of other venues, is there anything that you can think of, if you can't, this is completely off the spot, but just something I'd written down to ask, is there anything that you could think of that other venues could do, even just small changes that they could make to make places feel either more, to your first point about being the minority in some of those spaces, of feeling more inclusive and welcoming, or providing little tweaks and changes that could even make it more accessible than spaces are? Are there things that anyone listening here that owns a venue, owns a space that they want to make more welcoming, inviting and accessible, anything that you could advise them on that would be something they could consider? If not, no pressure.
I think the very easy one for venues to do, especially in the current climate, is to make sure that your toilets aren't kind of labelled as sex segregated spaces. There is no bathroom bill in the UK as of now, but lots of people want to think that there is. And the Supreme Court ruling, which came out in April, has only emboldened those people. So I think if you have a venue that still labels your toilets as sex segregated, it helps you to avoid that ambiguity of just saying this one's stalls, this one's stalls and urinals. It helps trans people to feel comfortable in a space and not worry that someone's going to try and shout at them in the bathroom.
But also anyone who presents sort of androgynously, these issues are ones that are felt keenly across the community. And I think the thing we find with when you make places more inclusive and more accessible, everybody benefits. I think we could talk right now about the fact that we are communicating through video calls. These are things that were developed to help people with disability, and eventually they become accessible to the wider community and everybody benefits, right?
Yeah.
When you make your toilets bigger to accommodate wheelchair users. That also helps accommodating people who have prams, who have small children, who don't have to kind of fight their way into a tiny cubicle with them who they need to look after.
Exactly. Also thinking about when you remove like gendered requirements in toilets, this also helps single fathers, people who often don't have access to things like changing facilities in a usual set of toilets.
Yep.
So I think it's this idea that try to look at the big picture rather than considering it as a single issue. Think about how that, yeah, when you make positive change for one group, everybody experiences that positive change.
Thank you for like, I know that again that one was one that I sort of like had written in a slightly different way, and when you said it I was like, I want to tweak this slightly because that's so important. I think some people think like, I wish I could do more, I wish I could do this, but it's just like, I think we all have this little part that we can play, even if it's just smaller things, like just maybe they can't afford to redo a whole toilet, for example, but like they can't, like what is in their control, they can make it feel like it's a space that anybody can go into. But that's such a valid point, actually. Another reason I'm glad I asked that is because what you mentioned about the pram thing, like never even crossed my mind. You know, in my mind I go, oh, this is great, this is like a big enough space for like a wheelchair user, and I would never have gone like, oh, but the space for even a, you know, that also helps. That I think sometimes people don't think about the knock-on impact some of the changes can make as well. Like you said, like when one person is helped, like we're all helped there, and I think that is
exactly.
so incredibly important. So yeah, thank you for answering that.
That's fine.
That if people are trying to work out what they want, what they can do to help, reach out to your local community and ask. You know, Lucy and I do not, by any stretch of the imagination, speak for LGBT people as a whole, and certainly don't speak for all neurodivergent people or all people with disabilities. If you want to work out how to make your venue specifically more accessible to those people within your community, ask them. You know, 9 times out of 10, they are going to want a venue that wants to work with them.
Yeah. Such a good point. So we're very excited because you are award nominated and award winning. So Closet was recently nominated for the Impact Award at the Proud Scotland Awards, and Lucy won the Rising Star Award at the Women in Beer Awards. Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Thank you. I can't even explain how excited I am to have won it. The whole evening was like a whirlwind.
It really was.
Congratulations on your award.
Thank you very much. Mine's behind me over there. Yeah.
I can see it right there.
I was like, I'm going to position it so it's like just over my shoulder when we're recording, just so everyone can
just
see
a little
it.
peek.
Just
and I think you should Lucy parade that award around everywhere. Just be like,
at first I was really kind of quiet about it, and then I was like, no, you know what? I won an award. I'm going to tell people.
Absolutely. So the day after Lucy won the award, she was up at the crack of dawn to get all the way back over to Glasgow. As you mentioned earlier, we were running a bar for the Scottish Queer International Film Festival, Squiff. Yeah. So that evening, Lucy was in Glasgow. In fact, from about 2 p.m. that afternoon, Lucy was in Glasgow, back at work, but with her award front and centre on the bar, so that everyone who came and got a beer could see that these beers were made by an award-winning brewer.
Amazing.
As you should be like, boom.
Yep.
Can I help? Can I get anything else for you? And you'll be like, let me just pass it around this. Yep. You should be shouting it from the rooftops.
And it's been pride of place on our TV unit ever since.
We can't watch TV without remembering that Lucy has won an award now.
Which is, that's fair. That's fair game. I get every time I record a podcast with Jo, I get to see the fact that she's won an award. So that's my every recording. I want to take. Can I take it one step back when we? I know that we've just gone like, yay, awards, great.
Mhm.
I want to know how you name the beers, like how.
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
because I was like, we glossed over that, and I got really excited
did.
about the turning the friggin' frogs gay, and then we went into the artist program, and what I really wanted to know was around how you name the beers. So I know we're running out of time, but I really want to know how you come up with the names.
So I have this note on my phone that
Oh
I've had
goodness.
I love that.
There's a lot of
for
scrolling
a
going
long
on for
time.
people that are watching the video.
Yeah, I hope that's not high enough resolution for people to see
No.
all the failed names.
No.
So basically, I talk. Can I swear?
Yeah.
Tori does.
I
Yeah,
talk
do
a lot of
understand.
shit.
Same.
I'm talking out my ass like 90% of the time. And Lucy's there, like a little fly on the wall reporter. And every time I say something particularly ridiculous, it goes on the sheet. And then every once in a while, normally sort of like 6 months down the line, she'll suggest something as a beer name. And I'll either be like, oh, that's brilliant. Where did you come up with that? She'll be like, it's something you said. Or I'll go, that's awful. I can't believe you came up with it. And she'll give me a look that suggests, no, that's something that I
You
said.
came up with that.
And there's some gems on this list,
Ooh.
and there are some really, really bad beer names. But whenever we have a beer and we don't have a name for it, we just go through the list and we see if anything clicks.
Normally, it all sort of comes together at once.
Okay.
So there'll be a spark of inspiration, and the label and the name and the style of beer sort of all come together around the same time. I mean, that was certainly the case for Thine Cup Runneth Over,
Which is beautiful, by the way.
which,
I'm really
yeah,
enjoying it.
gorgeous stout.
Yeah, I think that was just a steady thing one of us said once.
Yeah.
and
I
it
think
went on
that
the
was
list.
I think that was a Lucyism
Was it?
actually. Very often it is dumb things that I say, but in particular this time, I think Thine Cup Runneth Over was one of yours. And yeah, the sort of vision for that as this sort of like gorgeous dark stout with like medieval, sort of weirdly drawn animals on the label, that all sort of came together. We moved up here from Worcestershire, which is about an 8-hour drive with stops. And we do that journey a couple of times a year to go and see all of our respective families. So we have a lot of downtime to discuss names and ideas. So these things, we'll often use that journey as like a planning meeting. Because what else do you do when you're trapped in a small space together for 8 hours?
That's a great use of time.
I was going to say, especially when you're in business together, it's like, look, this is great. This is like meeting time. We can be like getting stuff done and that can be productive. So
Yeah.
when you've gone to the artist, have you tended to go to them with the idea of what you want already? Or have you gone to them and go, this is what we're thinking, you know, draw something? Obviously more polite than that.
I think it's about 50-50.
Okay.
Sometimes we go to the artist and we say, look, I've got this really clear vision in my head. Here's a very badly drawn version of it that I drew myself. And sometimes we'll say, this is the name. We kind of want these elements in it, but we want you to imbue it with your like art style and in your own creative vision. So it kind of depends, I think.
Yeah. But I think we always pick the artist based on the vibe we're looking for. So even if we basically approach them with no brief, we know that it's going to work for the concept because we know, you know, what their artistic style is. Which we've had a couple that have been absolutely sort of knocked it out of the park, ideas that were, you know, not even on our radar. I think particularly a sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, upcoming Christmas release
Oh.
that was an absolutely belter of an idea from Fraser, who we mentioned earlier, also did the Lost in the Sauce artwork. Very excited for that one to come out.
Yeah. So Fraser redesigned Lost in the Sauce, which was one of our probably closest to being a core beer as any beer is. So when we were rebrewing another one of our classics
For this winter,
for this winter that we
very
won't name
hush
by
hush.
name, but
No.
if you know, you know, we got them to redesign the label for that as well. Because all good business owners should know that if you have a well recognizable product that people like, you should redesign it.
Definitely. You definitely should.
I love the idea though of you both sat there being like, all right, with this one, I think we want frog butts. All right, who's gonna give us the best frog butt? And then you were like, yes, this artist. No doubt about it. And then you just got really
This was
great
Frog
artwork.
Butts was one of the rare occasions where we met the artist, Zuza, and knew we wanted to work with her like instantly. And so this was definitely a case of, if we're talking like chicken and egg, in this particular instance, artist came first, and we developed the name around the fact that we knew this was an artist who specialised in frogs with their butts hanging out.
I was going to say, it says Zuza Makes is the leading purveyor of frogs with bums and other handcrafted goods.
Yeah.
And I was like, say no more. That's it. That's perfect. That is so good. I love it. And I feel like this art would make a very good tattoo as well. I'm not, I'm not advocating anyone do it. I'm just saying it would make a really good tattoo.
Anyone's going to get a froggy bottom.
We've had worse ideas for tattoos, I'll be honest. So
I think most people have. My particular favourite is Vampire Spa Day. Where did that one come from?
That's an artist we haven't mentioned yet. That is Enbean, who is another Edinburgh-based artist who also did the artwork for the much-loved Spectre. If you may remember that from last year? Last year sometime. It all blurs into one. But yes, which has come back this year, Scotland's highest rated XPA on Untapped of 2024.
Vampire Spa Day, not Spectre.
Not Spectre, Vampire Spa Day, sorry.
Yeah, it's got a little gold. It's got a little gold logo next to it. I saw that when I was having a look.
Very exciting.
Yes.
So we'll be defending the title again this year.
I was going to say, I saw it, and when I was on the website, I saw that it was like up it, and I was like, oh, the artwork's like, just like, I had that. It was great. And I was like, I feel like the artwork looks like just all of your labels, like going through, I'm like, I would like that, and I would like that. And I would like I could just see it framed and hung on a wall. I'm like, just looks so good. So I do feel like we have to tag like these artists in it to just be like, check them out. It's so good.
But I think even though you say like, even though each one's different, like I can tell a Closet Brewing beer when I see it. I'm like, oh yeah, even though they look different, like I'm like, yep, that's a Closet beer. I do love that.
That's really good to know from a branding perspective.
We've done quite a lot of work this year developing our branding, which I've absolutely loved. I mean, I have a marketing background, so it's been really nice to flex those muscles in an environment where the only person telling me no is me, or maybe Lucy. So that's been really fun this year to sort of develop that a little bit more broadly and understand what our brand is and what we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve, and how to communicate that visually. Which again, I'm really imagine I'm speaking to like maybe 2 listeners here max who are going to be on the same wavelength as me, who are like, yeah, that does sound interesting. But I've always said that, the 6 words everyone wants to hear is, will you develop my brand guidelines?
And there will, like you said, there will be somebody out there that's like, finally I'm seen, which is great.
I think designs and art is probably where we have the most, not arguments, let's say, differences of opinion and strong opinions.
Debates.
We will make posts and t-shirt designs and then haggle over the finest details in them for hours.
And it will be things that no one else will notice either, like the very specific shade of off-white that we're using in a possibly up-and-coming merch release. Watch this space. But it'll be those small details. Sometimes we have a little saying in the brewery, it's not ours. Many people use this. It's not the end of the world. And every now and again, you do need to take a step back and remind yourself that it's not the end of the world.
It's just beer.
It's just beer, but
no
it's
one else
also
is going to
beer.
notice if we use 4-pixel or 8-pixel spacing.
But I think it's important that like a lot of people that we talk to that sort of own and operate breweries, and generally, like a lot of the time they're like, I'm making something that I would want to drink, that I would find. So like it is important, you know, you're passionate about it, and I think that's so clear. And it's like, if you weren't passionate about it and you were like, yeah, that's fine, yeah, sure, I think, you know, that it's easier to connect with people that you know are passionate about what they do, and it's very clear from what you've just said that you're both very passionate about it. So, and people like that resonates with people. So, you know, that's an important thing as well. If you didn't care, you'd be like, yeah, whatever shade of off-white you want, I don't know, same, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Same.
Somebody's going to notice, and somebody's going to be like, that's the best shade of off-white that I have ever seen.
I know, now they know. Everyone's going to be like really paying attention.
Which is the one, which is the colour. So I think you might have both answered it already, but is there any plans that you're hoping for in the future? Anything you want to put out into the universe and will into fruition for the next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? Is it taproom? Is it something else?
So we are looking to expand, hopefully in the next 12 months or in 2026. Currently we've got 2 tanks, which has been great, starting off small and growing organically. But in terms of where we're at now and wanting to put out volume while also trying to put out interesting stuff like lavender pale ales, it kind of hinders us. So that's kind of our big plan for 2026.
I mean, ideally, I would also like to get paid.
That's always a key thing.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for free.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the hours are not great.
I think that's another thing that's very important to put out there, back to our original comment of like what people don't take into consideration when they're buying beer and they complain about things.
I do not get paid by the brewery. Although I will say that since June of this year, we have been paying Lizzy, which has been a very exciting milestone.
Yeah.
But yeah, manifesting getting paid for next year.
I love that.
In the hopes that I may not have to hustle quite so hard everywhere else.
Yeah. And the aforementioned taproom. Hopefully with brewery expansion, there can be some kind of taproom, even if it's just an occasional once a month thing to start with. That's what we're hoping on.
Is there any way that at the moment anyone can help you? Like, can they donate money? Can they do anything? Or is it just literally go on, buy the beers, buy the merch, do what you can?
Buy the beers, buy the merch. We are fortunate enough now that we have a bunch of wholesalers that we work with. You know, we're still on cellar. You can buy from us directly, but whether you are trade or just a customer who is interested in what we're doing. So yeah, support us that way.
Buy from the webshop, go to your local pub or bottle shop and badger them constantly until they buy our beer.
I was just going to say, go to your locals.
And it works.
Yeah.
big shout out to Against the Grain here in Edinburgh, who dealt with some of our friends badgering for the better part of about 3 months before poor Sam just went, I've had enough, I'll buy the beer.
Amazing.
That was going to be it. As I was like, go out, ask your locals, go hit the
Yeah.
ground. Anyone that you're buying from, if you're not, if Closet's not there, ask them to get in Closet. And like you said, hopefully they'll eventually cave and they'll be like, yeah, okay, fine,
Yeah.
I will get you the
And
beer.
just keep an eye on the socials, because when we announce cool stuff, it will be there.
It will.
We will.
And don't forget that if you want to find a pub in Edinburgh that has our beer, we got our very first permanent line just last month.
Oh my goodness!
So
Congratulations!
you will now always be able to find our beer at the fantastic Bowler's Rest down in Leith.
Congratulations!
Amazing.
We'll link
Yeah.
them as well. Link that
Yeah.
place as well, so
We'll
people
put
can find
socials
it.
in.
Shout out to Cecily and the team.
Yeah,
We'll
I know.
put
I
the
think
website in. We'll put all the things in the show notes so that people can find
Gorgeous.
you and find your beer.
I
Anything-
think
Okay.
the thing that I am manifesting most for the next few years is that we get to continue working with so many wonderful people. I know we've spent most of our time here shouting out other people, but if we talk about community, we have a huge one behind us. We joke about being a 2-woman business, but really we're a 2-woman and every other person who is behind us, helping us along with emotional support and physical support, and the wonderful people who have offered to read through funding applications and sort of get down in the dirt with business plans, and incredible friends like our wonderful friend Kieran, who always comes along to help us at festivals. As 2 people who are quite easily overwhelmed in a crowd, we're always very grateful for that.
You know what they say. It takes a village to run a brewery.
There you go.
I feel like I wanted to be able to be like plug your stuff, but I feel like that was a really good final remark, and I can't beat that. Yeah. Well, there you go. Anything else either of you want to plug? I feel like it's a testament to both of you, the fact that you've used your final minutes to be like, everyone else, look at how amazing everyone else is. It's a testament to how amazing you are that you have a village that is wanting to support you. So I will big you up in that regard. But anything you want to plug? Any final thoughts?
I would say put the 18th of July 2026 in your calendar.
Oh,
Okay. 18th of July 2026.
Okay.
Firmly mark the calendar.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, can you say It Takes a Village again? Because that was a really good ending. That was a really good ending one.
You know what they say? It takes a village to run a brewery.
There we go. Oh,
Fantastic. Thank you both so much.
It's
No,
been
thank
so
you
lovely.
so much for having us.
It has been absolutely delightful.
So how this episode came about, like after the fact, so you know.
Are you going to talk about your award again?
Yeah, but I wasn't going to talk about the award. I was just going to talk about
Like now that you
funny-
said it.
funny that we were like so Lucy and I were at the award ceremony when we both won an award. I can't remember who we were talking to.
Yay.
Okay, and yay to Lucy. I can't remember who we were
Big
talking
yay.
to, but they were like, "Oh, do you 2 know each other?" And Lucy went, "Yeah, we go way back." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we do." So Lucy and I met at the first Women in Beer festival, where they had the seminar and they had beers that were brewed for the festival. And they were still brewing out of the closet at that point in time. And I remember because Mirakai had a beer up there, and I grabbed a couple of different ones for us to bring back, and I was like, so I met this really lovely person and they brew out of their closet, and I have their beer for you and I brought it back for you. And from then on we were just like, these beers are great.
I do remember you bringing that back
Yeah.
for me, actually. And every time you go to that festival, I'm always really jealous because it's like, I always find it's like midweek and I always want to go, but it's midweek. And I'm like, you get to, like, from your perspective, you get to go from like a work.
Yeah,
I don't think
I
that's
went
unfair
for
for me
work.
to say you get to go from
I
work
go for
perspective.
work.
And mine, I'm like, I've got to take days off. And it's always
Yeah.
just falling at a time where it's like, I literally just can't. And I'm always really jealous. But then I do remember, now that you say that, I completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
But now that you say that on the spot, I'm like, yeah, you did bring it back a closet bit. And I think that might have been the first. I knew who Closet Brewing was like before that,
Yeah.
because I think I'd like seen on social media and stuff like that. Like I think I'd seen it like mentioned at least in the run up, and
Yeah.
then you brought the beer back, and that was probably the first. I can't remember what it was. Was it black?
Cocoa Cannonball,
Yes, it was.
which I'm hoping
was like,
is
which
the one that they were
was-
talking about for Christmas.
Well, I was thinking, I was like, it was a dark colour, and I was like, I know I've had their black IPA with it, the black IPA, and then I was like, oh, I don't think that's right. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
I think it was Cocoa Cannon.
And then then
Grey label, I think it was.
yeah, with a cannon on it, yeah, which was great. And then seen them at festivals when I've been up that way, and like we've been following them on social media, and we bought their jumpers and everything, and it's been so great. And then I think maybe a year ago I was chatting to Lucy at a festival, and I did that thing that Tori and I are both terrible at, and I was like, I get like,
was it
so I
nice
do
to meet you?
podcast, and like it would be really great if we could have you on the podcast at some point. And Lucy was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. And then we both got busy and didn't get a chance to do it, and I was like, oh, they're busy, like, oh, I don't wanna
I do remember you saying, oh, like
I was like, oh, we should totally get them on.
like I've mentioned that they
Yeah.
should come on, sort of. I do remember that.
Yeah.
And
then we never
everyone
got to work it. And then when we were at the Women in Beer Awards, Lucy was like, we would love to come on the podcast. I was like, yes. When?
Immediate yes.
So
And then
glad we managed to
originally-
get them on.
And then I think the best part was like originally, like the one day we could all do was like the day after I got back
Yeah,
from holiday,
like,
and I was like, this would be great.
"Sus."
And then thankfully we pushed it out so I could
Yeah.
be slightly more present. I was like, yes, because the opportunity to have them on is way more important than
got
me
such
going
a-
back from holiday.
They've
So
got
let's go,
such a
let's
good
go.
story. The
Yeah.
beers are so good. As I said, like I've always.
They're both
been
lovely.
really-
Like they are.
They're so lovely.
So lovely,
I've
sweet.
loved hanging out with them at festivals and things, and Bernie's so cute, and I've always been very inspired by the way they work with their community and how they support their community. Like I've always
Just that part of the
loved that.
conversation alone, I
Yeah.
think, was really important. Really important. Like
Yeah.
some of that commentary, like what really hit me hard. That like again, like this is my privilege in that regard of like even being a woman in spaces that are male dominated. Like I've never had that, that feeling of what I think Lizzy was saying, which was like when you are the minority in when you get to be sort of like in that space, that part of the conversation was really powerful to me, because I think even when I don't know that I've ever been in that imbalanced situation one way or another, even when I've gone from being like in spaces where I was quote unquote the minority comparatively. Like for me, I never thought about it in that way, like to be very vulnerable. Like that's just not a way that I had necessarily thought about it from my own personal experience. And I think like that was a really powerful statement that I was like, yeah, actually now that I sat and thought about those words, I was like, yeah, that's a really, really like powerful statement that is just, I think people really need to take into consideration more than anything else. And just the conversation about like the accessibility piece and the welcoming piece.
Yeah.
And like those are things that, I just more places need to consider what they can do, because I think there's always something that's within our power to do.
And it's so true that as you put these accessibility and inclusive things in place, like it just benefits everybody. Like as we said, using video was an accessibility piece, audio books an accessibility piece, drop curb accessibility, and yet it's helped all of us. And it's now they're now things that people kind of take for granted. Like, so those little changes can really benefit everybody, and that's so important.
Honestly, I just like the takes a village to run a brewery. I was just like, yep, I have nothing, no further comments to add to that. That's very good. So yeah, I just think that was a really good conversation in general. I feel like I learned a lot of things in that conversation. So yeah, it'll be really interesting. It would be really interesting to see what they both do next in terms of like with the brewery, where it goes. Like fingers and toes crossed we can manifest like a good space for them, and let's just see what the next like 1 to 2 years brings. Like I think that'll be amazing.
Go to the web shop and buy their amazing beer,
buy their things, buy their merch, buy not just the beer, buy their beer, buy their merch.
So good. The jumpers have just been restocked. Get your jumpers. Get your jumpers. It's nearly
get your
festive
jumpers
season. Buy lovely.
Buy it for you. Buy it for ones you love.
Buy beers for everyone. Seriously, thine cup runneth over with the frog butts is like so tasty.
I think
the frog butts aren't tasty. The oatmeal stout is tasty.
Maybe they are.
I mean, maybe they are.
I'm also going to have to go and get that, because when you said you got that, I was like, oh, I really want that now.
I feel like I need more, because I was drinking it and I'm like, this would make really good chocolate brownies.
Oh yeah, and that's it, isn't it? It's like I know that we were saying on the podcast that it's like, yeah, Gal Pals might not make the best baked item because of the hops, but then I'm like, but is there something that you can do? Can you counterbalance that? Like trial and error. Like what could you do to counterbalance the hop element?
The baking brings out the bitterness of the hops is the problem.
You just add more sugar.
Because I've used hopped beer in other baked things, and it does make a difference.
I'm not scientifically brained. This is why I have you. I mean, You're my better half.
You could potentially like make a lavender and lemon cake and just pair it with the beer rather than putting it in the beer.
True. That's true. But
I might have to do that.
You do it first. You tell me how it goes, and then I'll copy it. Because again, like I said, you're my better half. You deal with these things, and I just go, here's an idea. I think this would be all right. And then you go, no, but
we could do this.
We could do this.
And I like that. I like that about myself, that I'm never a no.
No, it's
always
let's
pivot. No, let's try this. I like to have a solution when I say no to things.
I like that. So I feel like people need to get out. They need to order that beer. They need to order Thine Cuppeth run over, so that
order
they can
the Vienna Lager, because
make a bean. What was it? The bean
and beer casserole.
Yeah, got to make one of those. You can probably make a chili with it. You can there's probably loads of things that you can make with that. So get out, order that, and if we're lucky, we may have a discount code to give you.
We might do. Check the show notes, guys, because there's going to be so much in those show notes, like so much good value,
and good value and good art and
good artists.
Yeah,
there might be a discount code on there. Go down and have a look, and just go buy all the things from Closet, because you can't go wrong. They're delicious, and the jumpers.
You want to support good people as well. Yeah. Like that's the thing. It's like we are in a time, I feel like this is getting like ranty, but like I feel like we're in a time where like you want to know that your money is going to a place, like a good place. Yep. And I think that this episode and this conversation has demonstrated that they are good people building a good community, good quality product, great artwork, great ethos, like just in general. I feel like all of it is like it is like the dream of where you want your money to go, at least in my opinion. And with my ideas, like that's the kind of place I want my money to go. So and if you don't, like at this time as well, top tip, like if you don't have the money to spend on these things, a share on social media, a follow goes a really long way at this time of year. Like you're amplifying that voice to other people who might have the expendable income that they can spend on it, and that's just really helpful. So like just for small businesses, small breweries that you love, make sure you're following them, give them shares, give them likes, like recommend them to other people. This is a great time of year for that. And if you get people that ask you like what's your holiday shopping gift, for example, like you might, I think sometimes people go, oh, I know you like beer, I'm going to get you, these, I'm not even going to name names, but they'll be like, I'm going to get you these beers that are in this particular shop that are not necessarily particular, maybe I'm what a size small independent brewery, please. Yeah, exactly. So like I think sometimes people can be like, what can I, if you're looking for something, what kind of beers do you like? And I think the more you like and share and do that, like the more people will see that. And if somebody's going to go out and buy you some beers for the holiday period, or to take round your house to share with you, or looking for a gift that they can get somebody else that's a beer lover in their life. Like if they see somebody they trust sharing a brewery, they're going to be like, you know what? I should also get in on that. People want to get in on supporting good people and from people they trust. So,
Yep. So,
that's all we got.
Yeah, that's what we got. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Go follow Closet, go buy their beer, go follow all the other independent little breweries that we love and shout out all the time. Tori, if people want to recommend independent breweries to you, or ask you which Closet Brewing beer they should buy when they go buy their beers,
definitely. I really
where can they
wish
get hold of you?
I really wish the Turn of the Friggin' Frogs.
I know there
was.
I missed it.
Still on there. Like, this label is going to get peeled off. It's going to be framed. It's going to be put literally above my desk because I am so in love with all of it. Every single part of it. So I mean, and the Gal Pals, let's be fair, like all their labels are great. Need to make like a whole collage of that and hang it right up there. If people want to ask me about which beers they should buy, or they want to recommend me some ones to check out over the festive holiday period, or just other breweries that have really, really great ethos like Closet do, you can find me on Instagram at adventures_in_hoptimism. You can email me links or whatever, artwork, similar artwork. You can send them to me at adventuresinhoptimism@gmail.com. You can check out the website that hasn't been updated in a while, but maybe over the festive period when I have a bit of a break. I don't know. Maybe I'll update it. Adventuresinhoptimism.com. If you want to reach out to Joe and I both, you want to know more about, our thoughts on Closet Brewing, our favourite beers from Closet, our favourite artwork on the beers from Closet Brewing, you can find us on basically Instagram everywhere. We'll probably really only respond on Instagram at a woman's brew. And it's whoever's free. It's luck of the draw, lucky dip of who you're going to get responding. It's a woman's brew on Instagram. You can email us at awomansbrewpodcast@gmail.com, or you can also go to the website that auto updates, so we don't even have to do it, at awomansbrewpod.beer. That is a woman's brew pod, pod.beer. Joe, if people want to ask you on like great recipes to pair with the Closet Brewing, or they want to like turn it into a recipe, like where can they come talk to you for advice?
Yeah, come talk to me about these beers and what you're gonna brew with them, or what you're gonna make, like what you're gonna bake with them, or what you're gonna pair with them. Come talk to me about that. I always like talking about that. I'm on Instagram as Love Beer Learning. It's on Facebook as well. I do, if you respond on there, I do reply eventually, but if you really want to get hold of me, come find me on Instagram. You can also come to my website, which also needs updating, which is lovebeerlearning.co.uk, or you can email me, lovebeerlearning@gmail.com.
I'm shocked. Your website.
I know. It's because I just moved the website, you see.
How dare you?
Maybe over the festive period I'll try and get like 12 blog posts written so that I can just release one a month.
Wishful thinking, bud. Wishful thinking.
Yeah, that's not. Let's be real. That's not going to happen.
That ain't happening. But I love that for you. On that note.
On that note. Cheers.